Is Bluechew Gold legitimate? Is it worth it? Is it going to work for you? Well, today I'm going to tell you the truth about Bluechew Gold because I don't think anybody else is going to. The first thing, gentlemen, you have to realize is that Bluechew Gold is nothing at all. Look, this is an Apple iPad. If you want to buy an iPad, you have to buy it from Apple. Why? Because they designed it and they patented it. Bluechew did not design or patent anything that has to do with the way this medication functions. It is for generically available, very inexpensive, unpatented, active pharmaceutical ingredients. Apomorphine, for example, has been around since 1845. And so if you're asking yourself, do you need Bluechew Gold? You've seen a lot of advertisements. However, what we're going to talk about today is, do you need the 4 active ingredients that are in Bluechew Gold? Is Bluechew Gold a good value? And should you be subscribing for ED medication? All right, I'm going to glance over sildenafil and tadalafil because those are the active ingredients in Viagra and Cialis. And there's already a lot of information out there, including a video that I did on that very thing. What we're going to focus on instead are the 2 additional ingredients in Bluechew Gold, one of which is apomorphine and one of which is oxytocin. Let's start with oxytocin. Oxytocin is a peptide and a hormone. It's been called the bonding hormone, etc. What you need to realize is that Bluechew Gold is a sublingual tablet. They still call it Bluechew, but you don't chew it. It goes under your tongue. There is a lot of evidence that oxytocin does not absorb very well when sublingual. However, there is also some evidence showing that when people take sublingual oxytocin, that even though not much of it is absorbed, there are some studies showing that it does impact the way that people behave. So that's 2 bits of research pointing in opposite direction. One says, this shouldn't work at all. The other one says, well, maybe there is something to this. Now, we offer a medication at shamelesscare.com, my telehealth company that has sublingual oxytocin. It's for women. And we also offer it in a nasal spray. You need to know this, guys. The nasal spray absorption is much, 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 much higher. However, do you know what most people say who buy the intranasal oxytocin? They say, I don't know if this is doing anything. Now think about what I just told you. This medication absorbs much, much better. You're undoubtedly getting a much higher dose of oxytocin in your blood than you would ever get from a sublingual. And even then, many people do not know that it's actually doing anything to them at all. That's how subtle it is. So when you see advertisements, not just from Bluechew, but everybody else, saying that this oxytocin is going to change your life, you're going to feel so connected to your partner, pump the brakes, cowboy. I really doubt if that's how it impacts you. Now let's talk about apomorphine. Apomorphine is a dopamine agonist. What that means is that it binds to the dopamine receptors in your brain and sort of mimics dopamine for a few minutes, and then it metabolizes and goes away. Now, apomorphine was developed in 1845. It's been an emetic because it can make people vomit. It's been a Parkinson's drug. It's done about everything over the years, including an ED medication, but it did not work nearly as well as sildenafil and tadalafil. What it does in Bluechew Gold, and we have a medication with apomorphine in it as well, is it can ever so slightly increase sexual arousal, which can make those other ingredients, sildenafil and tadalafil, remember that's the active ingredient, Cialis and Viagra, work a little bit faster. This is another one of those things that is very subtle, so subtle, you may not know it's doing anything. Now, I know that's bad marketing. I'm not a marketer. I don't run any of these ads. You see Bluechew running. I'm somebody who has patients all across the country using this every day, and I'm just telling you the truth about it. Do I think that apomorphine can be beneficial to some people? Yes. Do I think it's often exaggerated? Yes. So now what we need to focus on is, should you be subscribing for ED medication? Well, I think subscribing to any kind of medication is utterly ridiculous. Look, I own a telehealth company and I just personally hate subscriptions. Do you know how much my revenue would increase if I had subscriptions? According to research, it would 2x. It would 2x overnight. But that's how much I hate subscriptions. Why do subscriptions work? Look, every day I talk to pharmacies, I talk to medical networks, I talk to advertising agencies, and every single person says subscriptions work, not because it's better for the patient, not because some medications need to be taken every day, because people forget. I swear to you, that's true. Everybody has no problem saying that out loud. Subscriptions work because you're going to forget. And Bluechew Gold is over $400 a quarter. So you better hope that you cancel or pause that subscription. So now that brings us to the price. And I found the pricing information to be very confusing. I'm going to put it up on the screen. First of all, I had to give them my private health information to find out this cost. I don't necessarily like that. That's why we don't run our company that way. But it's also very confusing because it says, for example, that the doctor consultation should cost $50, but it's free. But Bluechew has been around for years, and the doctor consultation was always just included in the cost of medication the same way that it is now. And then they do this first month free thing. Well, that doesn't make any sense either. Bluechew came up with the price of the medication. They've clearly increased the price of the medication and then reduced it by 33% so that they can put in the Instagram ads that your first month is free. Well, your first month free sounds really great until you realize that it's $400 every 3 months. So is that a fair price? Well, that's up to you. My main objective for this video was for you to realize that Bluechew Gold is mostly just branding of super common active pharmaceutical ingredients that dozens of compounding pharmacies and dozens of telehealth companies from across the country make and sell every single day. So you need to ask yourself, do you really need sildenafil mixed with tadalafil, mixed with apomorphine, mixed with oxytocin? Well, if so, you have other choices, but Bluechew. I hope you learned something. If you did, my name is Robert from Shameless Care. Leave us a comment, leave us a like, and we'll talk soon.